2. You blinked.
Yeah, well, it's bloody scary. You just clapped right in front of my face.
Well, there you go. Hey, so you're back?
Yeah,
You're back.
back. Good time away.
Where have we been?
Sydney.
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 Yeah. So what happened down in Sydney?
Lots of things. I think people were born. Cabs driving around.
There's always cabs in Sydney.
Yeah. No, seriously, I went to a conference down there.
Which conference?
It's Online Marketer / SMX.
Oh, that's why I forgot to go. It's not called SMX anymore.
Yeah, branding.
It's a really interesting question. What do people get out of conferences? Why do they go to industry conferences? Because there's a lot of opinions. What did you get out of going to the conference? Because you've been going for, must be what, your 5th year in a row?
5th year.
5th year in a row for Online Marketer / SMX Sydney?
Yeah. Been going for a while. Always get something out of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
You learn stuff. Surely a lot of the stuff's already out there. It's already online, right? There's blogs, there's videos, there's podcasts. Why not just keep reading, keep listening?
Yeah, okay. So 99% of the stuff that you're going to hear about at the conference, you can read on a blog. That doesn't mean that you should stop sending people like me down there. Because what you can't get from the blogs is the face-to-face time value. You got to get outside of those sessions, man. Because 99% of a conference is what happens when the sun is down and everybody's out, sharing a pale ale.
Okay, so online marketing is after hours.
Online marketing after hours. There's a domain in that actually. Yeah, it's all about learning stuff, and maybe you won't hear about it. Maybe somebody won't say something in front of a crowd of a couple of hundred people, but if it's just 2 of you sitting around the bar at beer, you pick up some good tips.
So I guess my take on that too, from experience, is that in a lot of cases, a specific question you have can get answered directly.
Yeah.
Because you get the opportunity. Not many people put their hands up to ask questions.
Yeah.
Or they don't want to ask about their issue.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Well, actually, on that topic, talking about your experience, you just got back from another conference, didn't you?
Yes, indeed. Yeah. Blueglass, LA, City of Angels. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No angels when you're around. So,
we might just leave that and roll on to another topic.
But how was that?
It was fantastic. It was quite different. Quite a different format.
Yeah. Okay. What was different about the format for that?
Well, it's a very limited numbers format. So there was, I don't know, under a couple of hundred people to it. More focused on content. Chris Winfield from Blueglass US, our partners over there, highlights the fact that it's not necessarily a money-making exercise, so that allows some freedom to run it a little differently.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's single track, which was very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Running between different sessions.
Yeah, I'm not built for running anymore. So
no,
it's not. But and so you spend a lot of time focusing on the content being delivered, rather than where do I need to be next. And my experience is sometimes on a multi-track, you're trying to judge, is this good or not? Should I try another session? So have I been here long enough? Maybe if I duck to the session next door, I might pick up some tips. Whereas you don't judge it that way. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that maybe that's part of the problem, that like when you go to a multi-track session like on the Marketer, where people are talking about what did I get out of it? They're kind of going, well, I missed a session here, but I heard that session.
And the problem with conferences is something's always going to run 5 minutes over. So running between different sessions, you're going to miss maybe the first couple of minutes or the closing minutes. Just the way it is. So one track sounds interesting. That sounds good.
No, it was good. Yeah. And the social was the term. We'll talk about social media, social things. I think the big thing, and you talk about the after hours sessions, is the Blueglass LA was built around a social mindset. So it's very much about breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yeah, all
together.
Right.
Every night there's a party event on, and there was a barbecue the night before. So it's about being as the group, and so there's less of a speaker delegate feel to a degree. Everyone was part of it.
Yeah.
So I think the social element allowed you to meet heaps of people.
Right. Okay.
But that probably goes back to the tip you're talking about at any conference.
Yeah.
My experience is the same. That you go out after hours and you go out of your way to make contact, get involved, have conversations with other people that are at the conference, and not just the speakers, but the other delegates as well. It's pretty hard to bump into people when you walk in the halls. You know, like, oh, you see a face, like, who's that again?
Yeah.
But if you don't sit down somewhere as a group and learn and hear their story, I think
it's far easier when your elbows are in a bit of, sticky drink, alcohol, sort of puddle. You've got something to talk about. It's good.
Yeah. Sounds like you're talking about Motherwell.
Yes, hi Mike.
Look, for me, there were obviously lots of learnings, but I guess, not every session, but there were learnings, but most importantly what you got, the underlying messages or the things that happen in the extended sessions were the key things. But yeah, it was good fun, good time.
Okay, alright, good.
What about any other tips or traps that we got for going to conferences? I mean, that's what it's really about. What this first face-to-face is all about.
Let's see, other traps. Make sure that you've actually, taken a look at the agenda before you go down. Helps you prepare some questions to ask during the sessions. There's nothing worse. I mean, people say any questions and not a single hand goes up in the conference, but I do it too. You just got to do a bit of background research before you get a much more productive conference out of it.
What about everyone trying to live blog and live tweet content? I mean, to me, I've done it.
Yeah.
Part of me goes, I'm not listening.
Yeah.
I'm not taking notes. I'm not thinking.
Yeah.
I'm actually just reporting. Or not even reporting. That's not fair to journalists out there. But I'm just recording.
Whoa. I'm a journalist. I'm a journalist.
That's a whole different session, right? But just reporting. Recording what's been said.
Yeah.
There's a role for that, and we all like that because it's easier to do our recaps on.
Yeah.
But I sometimes feel like people spend as much time now sending out popular comments or tidbits than actually getting direct.
I think there's two parts to that though, right? So the first one is maybe you aren't 100% into it, but you are at least, as you say, noting down so that you can go back and recap it later. But the other thing to bear in mind is that when you're at the conference, tweeting about it, talking about what a speaker's just said is a fantastic way to actually open that door of communications with them.
Yeah, true.
Maybe
I thought you could say it was a great way to get more followers.
That too. Generally bumps up. Yeah. I'm sorry for everybody with all the hashtag SMX stuff.
Well, I guess the important bit here is people go to conferences in all sorts of fields, and I think there is a trend for people aren't going to as many conferences, I don't think, or people are finding reasons not to go. Maybe their employers aren't willing to spend the money because they went last year. To me, I think there's a bit of short-sighted in that.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that as an employer and as a person who goes for professional development. A classic example is our Blueglass relationship would not have occurred if it wasn't from attending Online Marketer.
There you go.
Year in, year out.
Yeah.
And numerous other relationships. Going to LA, I made some great new relationships with people online. Out there, you know who you are. And I think there's a lot of value in that. But I guess the other thing that I ponder, I wouldn't mind your opinion on, is who should go. I mean, it's easy for us. We're talking about people in the industry, and who made up the biggest audience at Online Marketer this year? Because I know it's different year to year.
Biggest audience, at least that I ended up talking to, mostly seemed to be from agency land.
Okay.
Mostly agencies. I didn't see as many in-house people there this year, but that could just be the crowd that I was,
See, that's interesting, not having gone this year. And I mean, last year, I guess I was a little concerned. I remember having a few conversations about this. There didn't seem to be a lot of client marketing people at what I would consider a pretty important thing for any business marketer.
Definitely.
That was a little bit different in LA. There were a healthy number of people that, client side people.
Right, okay.
There was a mix. There was agency, there were in-house, freelance type people, but there were client side. And that's a bit of a worrying trend to me.
It says something about the market, doesn't it?
It does. That's probably a whole different topic.
Yeah.
I've got some opinions.
I do. Very strong opinions. Very strong opinions.
So I guess, in summary, the best thing about going to conferences is face-to-face time.
That's it.
So what we mean by face-to-face time is not just about seeing people, but it's the value you get out of looking someone in the eye, having deeper conversations that you don't get in a 140 character or an email, or even on a phone conference, about the ability to discuss stuff off record, and just build relationships.
Yeah, because that's what it's all about. That's what marketing's about in the end, isn't it? So
good point.
Yeah, there you go.
I reckon that's a wrap.
Yeah, good to go.
All right.